ball for Penn of Lee is Doug Zapf, a sophomore from Downingtown. He's 6-2 on the year, won the Keystone Classic, but he has his toughest test to date here today. Nick Lee on the mat for Penn State, ranked third, the junior out of Evansville, Indiana. Two-time All-American here at 141. Now, I think eventually for Penn State this year, they used to have that murderer's row once you got to the second half of the dual meet. You're going to see that develop in the upper weights. Brooks is going to make his debut here at Rec Hall today. He wrestled, they burned his red shirt by wrestling him at Lehigh on Friday. I think that's where it's going to develop. And in the lower weights, the man to watch, obviously, at least at this weight class, and probably the first five is Lee, and there's the takedown for Lee.
Yeah, about midway through last season, Nick Lee, something kind of changed with him, and he became such an aggressive wrestler, really fast, just like Rowan Bravo Young. Almost wonder if they wrestle together in the room a little bit, but he changed a little bit. He always seemed more like, before that murderer's row, kind of like almost a little timid. He was the young kid on the block. Now as a junior, he's fast, he's aggressive, really good wrestler, and so in a season like this, when there are a lot of different people in the lineup, Nick Lee, always kind of a constant that this Penn State team turns to.
You talked about bonus points with Bravo Young. Lee, in his first two seasons, 51 of his 63 wins were with bonus points. He's 7-0 on the year this year. After his Tech Fall win against Lehigh on Friday, he gave Penn State an 8-4 lead in the dual meet, and they never looked back. He has 3 Tech Falls, 3 pins this year. His only non-bonus point win was a 11-5 victory over Dresden Simon of Central Michigan. Lee, the early lead on Zapf.
And it's almost hard to believe that Nick Lee is a junior already. It's funny how time flies by, but it seems like Nick Lee was, like I said, the new kid on the block, and all of a sudden you look up and he's on his next to last season here in Happy Valley.
Zapf shooting from arm's length. Lee fends it off, and now he looks to spin behind, goes down and crashes through for a takedown. The thing that's always impressive with a Cale Sanderson team is even when they are defending a shot, they are still looking to score, and I think that's what makes them so difficult to wrestle against. They're always trying to score and add to leads and find whatever the situation is. Penn State's trying to add points.
Yeah, absolutely, and that was a great example of that right there. Kind of working around the shot and whatnot, and then looks down, oh, ankle. Let's get an ankle pick in there and send Zapf to his back.
Working with a heavy one-on-one on the right side. He's going to try to bring the arm onto the back. How's he going to turn him here? Is he going to try to tilt him? It looks like now he's got the arm pinned against the back. He's going to come back with a half here on the near side, or he could twist him over for a bit of a tilt. Problem is only a dozen seconds left in the period. In fact, less than that. Our timer's a bit behind, and first period ends here at Rec Hall with Nick Lee in front 4-1 with a pair of takedowns. So when did you sense that transition for Lee, where the confidence grew and he became one of those guys that was constantly on the attack?
Well, I can't remember who it was against exactly, but he lost a match last year about midway through the season. Somebody that I don't think a lot of people expected him to lose to. I believe it was a wrestler from Wisconsin, if I remember correctly. I'm not 100% sure, but he lost that match here in Rec Hall, and people weren't expecting him to do that. And then from that point on, it was almost like a fire under Lee. And we've just, in my opinion, seen a completely different wrestler ever since.
Had some great battles last year with Joe McKenna of Ohio State. 5th place in nationals the last 2 years for the 2-time All-American Lee. Lee has the ankle, covers, comes behind, and another takedown. I think right now the problem for Penn, if you're going to shoot, you have to shoot to score. They're just shooting to make an attempt at a takedown, and that doesn't work against wrestlers like Bravo, Young, and Lee.
No, their counter moves are just so strong that you got to be full-fleshed in there and just get all the way to the legs. If you come up short, it's not going to end well for you.
Penn State the upset at 125. Brandon Meredith fell behind 4-1, rallied for an 8-5 win over 10th ranked Michael Colocchio, and then Roman Bravo Young won 21-9 at 133. Minute 54 seconds of riding time for Nick Lee. He has the 6-point edge in the final 30 seconds of the second period here at 141. But the point I wanted to get to with Bravo Young, he's going to have to find a way to turn wrestlers. He can't just continue to dominate on your feet. That can get you to a point, but he needs to work on not only his mat wrestling on bottom, but of course on top to find a way to turn guys, and that's how you can accumulate those tech falls and pins.
Yeah, and I think last year, again, a great example of that. He goes to the NCAA tournament, really strong throughout the regular season, does end up an All-American, but only places 8th. So, yeah, you've got that really quick. You've got one aspect of your whole kind of wrestling repertoire, but you've really got to hone in on some of those other skills and be a more complete, rounded wrestler.
Zapf going down to start the third. Lee by 6, minute 54 seconds of riding time. Zapf was a Pennsylvania state champion at 106 pounds as a senior for Downingtown West. He's 6-2 on the year. Lee unbeaten for Penn State. And he's looking for that turn. So he's almost had an arm bar on the right side. Zapf is fending him off, but all he's doing is defending Lee, and there is that stall. Hasn't made any effort to get up.
Yeah, usually when you're just kind of laying, you know, with your stomach flat to the mat, kind of sprawled out, almost like you're a starfish almost, with all kind of 4 limbs just pointing in opposite directions, you're going to get that stall call because you can't really do anything. You're just laying there.
You know, and quite honestly, Zapf has nothing to lose. Most of the Penn wrestlers, you have nothing to lose coming in here. If I'm a coach, I want to see my guy go out and compete and find a way to put some pressure on, try to get out. It's one thing to say, well, I only lost, for example, 11-4. I didn't give up bonus points. But what do you gain from that?
Yeah, no, you're right, and I agree. There's something to say about, well, I don't want to get pinned in rec call, and that's fine, but you also have to be aggressive, and I think that's part of the thing is, would you rather be aggressive and try to catch someone like Nick Lee sleeping, and all of a sudden he's on his back and you're right in this thing, or would you rather kind of come in here and just lull through and take a 10, 12-point loss?
Lee gets stall points as Zapf was bellied out once again. You know, Lee has tried everything. We've seen 2-on-1s, 1-on-1s, arm bar, tried to work a half at the end of the first period, and he's going to come out of here with riding time with a 13-4 major decision win and back-to-back majors for Penn State, as Nick Lee remains unbeaten at 141. That's just a technically sound, controlled match by Nick Lee.
Yeah, in wrestling right up to the whistle there, even as the whistle blew, still trying to get Zapf turned onto his back for bonus points. A great match for Lee, and that's the 3rd great match we've seen in a row for Penn State.